Welcome back. We are talking about Reconnect Tennessee. This is part of the governor's initiative, Drive 55, to get more adults with secondary education in Tennessee. 55% by the year, what?
2025.
2025. What? How many now? So 55% is the goal.
Right now we have about 38.8. We have 38.8% attainment.
Okay.
So we have a ways to go, and each county is a little bit different. But in Tennessee, we have 38.8%.
So that is a long way to go.
Yeah.
We need a lot of people to get these things now.
Right.
So you've kind of started this. You're working with this. What are some of the stories that you're seeing? What are some of the people that you're seeing take advantage of this and the impact it's having?
Well, this week we actually had our first person graduate from Columbia State. They had their first, the people, we work very closely with all of the schools in the area. We work with private and public nonprofit schools. And so Joni from Columbia State called this week to celebrate their first graduate. And I worked with this person. His name's Brian, and he works full time. He did not qualify for any federal grants to pay for his education, and he didn't want to take out student loans. And so that was kind of our starting point. He knew what program he wanted, and he knows that he wants to go on for a 4-year degree. We've already planned our conversation about going to get his bachelor's degree. But when he started, he didn't think he would be able to go. And we were able to, he qualified. We had some Reconnect grant money last year for adults. It was very restrictive. You had to have a certain number of credit hours. You had to attend a certain number of hours. You had to be committed to qualify for these grants, and he was one of about 50 statewide who qualified. So he was able to access a Reconnect grant, go to school, and he's the person that lets me know this process works, that Reconnect advisors can help someone get to and through. That we talk about to and through all the time. I think it's very easy to get an adult to go to school. We can make a case for it. We can get them to the campus. We can get them registered. But it's hard for an adult to go to school. For an 18-year-old to go to school, there's no reason for them to not go, because there's people pushing them along the way. There's people saying it's time for you to register. It's time for you to fill out the FAFSA. Carrying them along the way. And for an adult, your car breaks down, you lose your job, you don't have reliable childcare. So there's tons of reasons to quit, and we want to make sure that we support them to and through by providing them support, providing them connection. The person who just graduated, the week before he started classes, I called to just check in with him, and he said, I don't think I'm going to be able to go to school. And he was having a financial aid issue, and I emailed his advisor at Columbia State, and within 20 minutes it was fixed. And that right there is why Reconnect can help an adult, because Brian even said, he said, I don't even know who I would have called. It's not that staff in a financial aid office are not helpful, but an adult doesn't know which person to call. And so that's what a Reconnect advisor can do, is provide that connection to the campus. Because once I made the connection with the staff person, he and the staff person resolved the issue.
They were able to work it out.
Yeah.
Now, I bet there are a lot of things like that that do put up a barrier and prevent that person from getting that degree. Now, we're going to see a bunch of new people go into these schools. Are the schools ready for that?
The schools are on their way to being ready. I think, I work with Motlow State, Columbia State, Volunteer State, and Nashville State. And all of them are working very hard right now to make sure they're ready for adults, because they all recognize adults are different. they bring something different to the classroom, but they also bring different issues to getting through. So encouragement along the way is an important piece of it, and that's what a Reconnect advisor can do. But having a culture at the school that supports adults is also important. And our community colleges are responding with things like adult attainment specialists, so someone who's fully dedicated to supporting their adult students by having a dedicated person, but also dedicated space on campus. So if an adult's having an issue, they have a place where they can come. If they need academic help, if their car broke down and they aren't going to be able to get it fixed, which means they can't come to class, getting that kind of help. And I think if we as a community can provide that support, whether it's a Reconnect advisor or someone at the school or an agency in our community, then that's what it's going to take.
So they're going to need to adjust the student that they are dealing with or taking care of. Are they going to need to hire a bunch of new teachers as well? You're going to have a ton of new people coming in.
Well,
what about that?
I think all of our community colleges have capacity, and the good thing is they can add sections of a class. They have the academic programs in place. If there's demand for a class, they can do that. And we've seen that with Tennessee Promise. I think the same question was asked when Promise was put into place. Are we able to handle that? And I think if you look at any of our community colleges, you'll see they are, they may be adding buildings, they may be looking at non-traditional ways to provide education, but I think, by the fall of 2018, you'll see, a change for the better.
Now, how do you get involved? So there are people out there again watching, what's the first step?
The first step is to complete an intake form. You just go to midtnreconnect.org and click Get Started from any page. And on that website there are some free assessments for adults to take if they don't know what career path they want, but the first step is to complete that intake form. And then we'll assign you to an advisor based on your county.
So even on that page, there's some guidance about what maybe you should study.
Right.
Right.
I've talked to a lot of people and they say, I don't even know what I want to do. Well, these assessments are really, they're basic assessments, interest inventories, personality types. We have a link to ONET, which is what our Tennessee American Job Centers use. So they can really look at a lot of different types of careers, a lot of different pathways. There's also a site they can go to that says if you complete this degree or credential, this is the kind of job you can expect to get. And this is what that job pays. So you're not going into a career blindly. You know what it is,
and
what
that's
you can
important.
expect.
I think that's
Absolutely.
very important.
Because an adult doesn't have time to go back to school, much less go back to school for something that isn't going to be marketable. So yeah, we really want to do that work up front.
And do you feel like these are degrees that are marketable? I mean, you're hopefully not offering things that aren't marketable.
Well, with the legislation, they can go to a community college and get any degree. But I've talked to people who say they want one degree, but when we talk about, okay, these are the realistic job prospects for that degree, they say, well, maybe that's not the direction I want to go. So I think it's important that they have that conversation up front.
Definitely.
Because if you go to school for a 4-year degree and your last semester you talk to someone about job prospects, that's really the wrong time. So if we can have that conversation up front and maybe redirect so that their interests are and skills and abilities are being addressed, but also the marketability of that, the employability after they graduate.
So what does an advisor do? Let's drill down, I guess, a little more deeply into what these advisors are doing. What somebody could expect from an advisor.
Well, a Reconnect advisor, we call it's a high-touch advisement model. So we get to know the Reconnector. We we maybe prod them along and encourage them. And by prod, we might, call them and say, hey, have you completed your FAFSA yet? Have you talked to your advisor on campus? But then we also look at program choice. That may be a conversation. Some people come in and they know exactly what they want to do and what direction, and we really are just providing the path to them. But then others really, they don't know what direction to go. I've had people who have come in and thought they wanted to do one thing, and then they end up at a TCAT doing something completely different. So we really just provide a forum for them to get some guidance, but also encourage them through to graduation. So even after they go to school, we still are in touch with them.
What are the jobs right now? I've asked what the most popular. What are the highest paying in this world? Would it be an LPN, or what are some of the higher paying jobs that?
I think in all of the sectors that I talked about, there are very high paying jobs. If you go to work at Nissan or General Motors, there are high paying jobs, starting wage high paying jobs. In the IT sector, again, if you have the skill and ability to do that work, there are high-paying jobs in Nashville that you can walk into today. And healthcare, that field is always so open. There's a lot of opportunity, and some of those sectors cross paths, like healthcare and IT cross paths all the time in Nashville. So, so someone who may have a nursing degree may want to go back and get some sort of, if they have that sort of ability, may want to go get an IT certification.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, we're going to take a break. If you want to call in, there's the number, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Take a break. Be back right after this.